Temperature-sensitive developing processes like C41 and E6 typically have us processing our film at temperatures quite a bit higher than room temp. Back in the day, this was pretty intimidating, as significant temperature drops could cause issues with density and color shifting. But products like the CineStill TCS1000 have made it so much easier.
And while temperature maintenance is an important part of the process, there's more than one way to use your TCS to process color negative or slide film, namely the pitcher method
and the water bath method.
This is just way faster because you can just get right to the chase. You want to process right off the bat.
Should we let them know what we're arguing about?
Probably.
All right.
What's up, y'all? I'm Linus.
I'm Andre.
And in today's video, we're going to be showing you each method, discussing their pros and cons, and helping you determine which method best fits your needs. Today, I'm going to be covering the pitcher method.
And I'll cover the water bath method. And if you do need a refresher on how to process color negative film using the CineStill CS41 kit, we've got a video for you right here. All right, let's jump into it.
I think we should. All right, let's do it.
You're going down, Linus.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, folks, I'm gonna get started by showing you my go-to method, the water bath method. This involves semi-submerging your chemical storage bottles and your developing tank in a temperature-controlled water bath. The warm water helps to reduce the amount of temperature drop during processing, ensuring that you get consistent results every time. Here's what you'll need. A plastic tub, about 16 quarts is a good size, a CineStill TCS1000 temperature control system, mixed CineStill CS41 chemistry, and a thermometer. Start by inserting your chemical storage bottles into the plastic tub. Clip the TCS1000 securely onto the side of the tub, and fill it with water until the bottles are semi-submerged and the water line lies somewhere between the min and max lines of the TCS. Ensure that your target temperature is set to the recommended 102 degrees Fahrenheit for the CS41 process, and tap the power button to start the circulation.
While Andre takes his time to get his process started, I'll take the opportunity to mention one of the cons of using the water bath method. It can take a while for the chemistry inside of the bottles to reach the recommended processing temperature, as heat needs to transfer from the TCS to the water to the inside of the bottles where the chemistry is.
That is a good point, Linus. You don't want to be fooled into thinking that your chemistry is up to temperature once the TCS beeps indicating that the water bath is at 102. It still will take a bit longer for that heat to transfer to the chemistry itself. And while the chemistry is warming up, I usually take the time to load my developing tank in the darkroom. So I'm gonna go do that.
All right, have fun.
Of course, you can also just use the changing bag.
While Andre's chemicals have a spa day, I'll show you the working man's quick and efficient process, the pitcher method. The pitcher method involves placing the CineStill TCS1000 temperature control system directly into your pitchers of CS41 chemistry to heat them directly. Compared to the water bath method, the pitcher method takes much less time to bring chemistry up to temp and can deliver very consistent results under most conditions. This is the method I personally use when developing most of my color film at home. Now, here's what you'll need for the pitcher method. 3 1,000 milliliter chemical mixing pitchers, a CineStill TCS1000 temperature control system, and mixed CS41 chemistry. Pour at least 600 milliliters of your developer and BwXX into 2 of the pitchers. Insert a clean TCS1000 into the developer pitcher, clipping it to the edge securely. It's fine if that's more than the minimum chemistry solution volume for your developing tank, since you don't have to pour all of that into the developing tank, and we will be recombining all 1,000 milliliters after we're done. We're just trying to make sure that the level of the solution stays between the minimum and the maximum lines on the TCS. Into the third pitcher, we'll fill the same volume of clean water. If the room or space you're using is at a typical room temperature of 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, set the target temperature on the TCS to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees over the standard recommended processing temperature of 102 degrees. This higher starting temperature will compensate for the drop in temperature during processing. Start the circulation by tapping the power button on the TCS. Once the TCS beeps indicating that the developer is up to temperature, stop the circulation by tapping the power button, unclip it from the developer pitcher, transfer it into the pitcher with clean water in it, and tap the power button again, starting the circulation for a few seconds. Then you can transfer the TCS-1000 to the BwXX to start heating it up. As a reminder, the CS41 chemical process is designed such that developer getting into the BwXX doesn't harm it whatsoever, but getting just a drop of the BwXX into the developer can kill it. So follow the processing order and you will be just fine. Ensuring that the first process timer on the TCS is set correctly, pour in the required amount of chemistry from the developer pitcher into your developing tank while pressing and holding the CS button to begin the first process timer. Secure the tank's lid and begin agitating. When the first processing timer goes off, indicating the end of the developer step, pour the developer solution out of the processing tank and back into the developer pitcher, setting it aside away from the BwXX pitcher. I like to do this to reduce the chance of any BwXX droplets from getting into the developer pitcher. Immediately pour the required volume of BwXX from its pitcher into the processing tank and begin agitation. Following a 30-second pause after the timer, the second timer will begin counting down for the BwXX step. Agitate for a minimum of 8 minutes until the TCS's second processing timer goes off, indicating the end of the BwXX step. Pour the BwXX solution out of the processing tank and back into the BwXX pitcher. At this point, I like to recombine the just used chemistry from the pitchers back into their designated 1000 milliliter chemistry storage bottles. Because both of the bottles and their respective caps are labeled, I make sure I'm not accidentally cross-contaminating the chemistry. Before I put away these two pitchers, I make sure to rinse them both with water several times to remove any chemical residue. My developing tank is now empty of chemistry. The tank and the film are ready to be washed. We have a whole video on how to wash your film in such a way that prevents water spots. Check it out here. It's also important to ensure that the TCS is completely clean before you put it away. Check out our TCS video here, which goes into more detail on cleaning it.
Looks like my chemistry is up to a nice and stable 102 degrees Fahrenheit, soaking in our little spa here. Checking the temperature of the chemistry should be done by inserting a clean thermometer into the chemical storage bottles. I tend to focus on measuring the developer rather than the BwXX, as it's the more temperature sensitive of the two chemicals. Doing so also prevents accidentally checking the BwXX and then transferring a BwXX covered thermometer into the developer bottle, cross-contaminating it and ruining your developer. As a reminder, the CS41 process is designed such that the developer getting into the BwXX is totally normal and harmless, but it only takes a single drop of BwXX getting into the developer to render it completely unusable. So to prevent that from happening, just stick to only checking the temperature inside the developer bottle. Now, once the developer is up to temp, we're ready to begin processing. Remove the developer bottle from the water bath, and setting a few paper towels on your working surface can help contain any water drips from the sides of the bottle. Confirming that the first processing timer on the TCS is set correctly, we'll get ready to pour in the required amount of chemistry into the processing tank. Using a graduated pitcher can help ensure that you're pouring the exact amount of chemistry you need. You want to pour the chemistry into the tank as quickly as you can without spilling it, and I like to start the timer by pressing and holding the CS button on the TCS while I pour. Secure the lid of the developing tank and begin the first few agitations. The CS41 kit's instructions provide details on agitation frequency. Tap the tank on the working surface to dislodge any bubbles, then semi-submerge the processing tank in the warm water of the bath. If your tank has a cavity at the bottom where air can get trapped, like with this Jovo 1520, tilt the tank slightly to let the bubble escape. This maximizes the contact between the tank and the water for optimal heat transfer. When it's time for the next agitation cycle, based on the timer built into the TCS-1000, lift the tank out of the water, agitate, tap on the table, and put it back in. Keep doing this for the duration of the developing time, and again, having some paper towels laid out will help soak up any water droplets. When the TCS's first timer beeps, indicating the end of the developer step, lift the processing tank out of the water and quickly pour the developer out. A pitcher again can come in handy here, allowing you to pour quickly while avoiding spills compared to pouring directly into the chemical storage bottle. As soon as the processing tank is empty, you'll want to quickly pour in the BwXX and repeat the above agitation steps. Again, full details of the CS41 process can be found in this video.
Okay, so now you've seen how to process film with our favorite methods. Let's talk about the main pros and cons of each. Andre, why don't you start us off with the water bath method?
Thanks, Linus. Of the main pros of the water bath method over the pitcher method, the first and foremost is the more effective active temperature maintenance. While the pitcher method does involve increasing the starting temp to help compensate for the inevitable temperature drop to the ambient air, Semi-submerging the developing tank in warm water with the water bath method for a significant portion of the temperature-sensitive developer step provides better insulation against temperature drops. The effect is more pronounced the colder the ambient air temperature is and the longer the developing time. Now, I will admit that I do often develop my color negative film with the pitcher method if I don't have a plastic tub handy to set up a water bath, or maybe I'm running a little bit behind schedule. But for more temperature sensitive processes like the CS6 or when push processing older CS41 chemistry, I do like to stick to the water bath method for its superior temperature maintenance.
So you do use the pitcher method here and there.
Once in a blue moon.
Oh, in a blue moon, okay, okay. Another pro is that since the TCS1000 isn't being used directly to heat the chemistry itself, you don't have to worry about accidentally cross-contaminating the chemistry by transferring the TCS from the BwXX to the developer. You should still be careful when measuring the temperature of the chemistry inside of the storage bottles with the thermometer, and the TCS should still be thoroughly washed after processing, as the chemistry can leak slightly from the tank into the water bath.
The last pro of the water bath method that I want to mention is the fact that since you're preparing a large volume of warm water, that water can actually be used to help wash the film after processing. Ensuring that the wash water is within about 10 degrees Fahrenheit of the processing temperature can help avoid reticulation, and using some of the warm wash water may be easier than trying to fight your tap to get the temperature of the wash water just right. While you're at it, it also helps reduce water waste.
Now, nothing in life is perfect, and there are a few cons to using the water bath method. First, lifting and semi-submerging the processing tank in the water can be messier, as water will be dripping during the process. Remember how many times we mentioned having paper towels on hand?
That is definitely true. It also takes much longer for the heat to transfer from the TCS to the chemistry. As I mentioned, I like to use this time to load my developing tank, but on colder days I have had to sit in front of my water bath setup for quite a while, waiting for everything to heat up. What do you think, Linus? What are the pros and cons of the pitcher method?
It's all pros, man. It's all pros. There's not a single con. Not a single con in the book. No, I'm really glad you asked. First off, the main advantage of the pitcher method over the water bath method is minimal time it takes to heat up the chemistry. Heat is being transferred directly from the TCS to the chemistry, a feature unique to the TCS due to its chemical-resistant PTC ceramic heating elements. And it only takes a few minutes for the chemistry to be brought up to room temperature or to our processing temperature of 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
One quick side note, for the pitcher method, do not, I repeat, do not put a normal kitchen sous vide into photographic chemistry. The metal heating coils found in kitchen sous vides can boil the chemistry at the site of the metal coils, and eventually over time it'll even rust. So if you're using a kitchen sous vide with the water bath method, which we don't recommend to begin with, please don't use it with food as well. Film processing chemistry and food prep should never mix. And as long as you're careful when transferring the TCS from pitcher to pitcher, you can clean up as you go, and it's pretty mess-free compared to the water bath method, which does require lifting and submerging the tank several times.
The main disadvantage of the pitcher method is the lack of active temperature maintenance during processing, which is not really an issue with the short developing time of CS41. Once you pour the chemistry into the developing tank, there will inevitably be some heat loss, but it won't be more than a couple of degrees depending on the ambient temperature. The colder the ambient temperature, the more heat loss there will be. This is offset somewhat by increasing the starting temperature by a few degrees to compensate for the temperature loss, but longer processing times and particularly temperature-sensitive processes like E6 may require a tighter control of the temperature than this method can really offer you.
Yeah, and lastly, because the TCS1000 is being used to directly heat up the chemistry, you should be extra careful to avoid BwXX to developer cross-contamination. Always handle the chemicals in the processing order, developer, BwXX, and then our last pitcher for the wash water, and rinse everything thoroughly.
I think that's a great recommendation for someone who likes the water bath method. And there you have it. Now you know the difference between the pitcher method and the water bath method for processing your color negative film, and you can decide what works best for you.
Absolutely. Let us know in the comments section which method you prefer, as well as what kind of videos you'd like to see next on the channel.
Yeah, and remember guys, to only mention loving the pitcher method in the comments. That would be best.
Water method for life.
Pitcher method.
Water bath.
Anyway, I'm Linus,
I'm Andre.
and thank you so much for watching. We will see you guys next time.
Take care.
See ya.
Water bath for life.
Pitcher.